The West Ham Massive are pleased to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham fans and friends inspired by the work of other football food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for a Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply sub-distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thanks for your support. Come on, you Irons.
Massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go! 1, 2, 3, 4! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go!
Good morning. Welcome to the West Ham Massive. We're doing the preview of the Bačka Topola game. Let me just get the usual bits and pieces out the way, though. Please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream to your social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts and new content. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this particular endeavour. Please also remember that if adult language should offend you, you might want to disappear, but please don't forget to drop a like on the stream and subscribe before you exit the building. I may occasionally let the odd swear word out. I don't mean to offend, but if it does, that's just too bad. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. It is what it is. So, yeah, UEFA Europa League, Group A, match day 5 of 6. TSC Bačka Topola 0. West Ham United 1 at the TSC Arena. Keep your eye on the ticker at the bottom. It will intermittently change and give you various little facts around the game that took place the other night. Like that. There you go. The match officials. So, now normally, I'll be perfectly honest, I would have done the match review yesterday. It was just too much going on, so I couldn't do it. So basically, you got a little bonus today, guys. You got back-to-back. You've got the Bačka Topola preview now, and in roughly an hour's time, I'm going to be doing the Crystal Palace preview. Hopefully, Ben will be there for that. Fingers crossed, but if not, then whatever. It is what it is. To be honest with you, normally, you know the sequence. I normally have some questions lined up and all the rest of it, and we sort of normally go back and forth. To be honest with you, I find it very difficult to do too much about the game because, as you can probably see from that there, that is what I think of what we saw the other night. Listen, we won the game. We're top of the group. I can't complain about that, but as a spectacle, that is what I pretty much thought about the game. What a pile of dog shit. Seriously. It was a really poor game to watch. I thought, and I've said this, I'm on the Hammers Chat Patreon's group, WhatsApp group, and I left a little voice note on my way to work yesterday, and it pretty much summed up my thoughts on it. It was a game that we played a pattern, we played a style of play that I just don't think fits with the way that I believe Dave Moyes wants to play it, which is really weird because it's like he wants to play a counter-attacking style of football, right? That's how it appears to me. And yet, one of the things that you need when you're playing a counter-attacking style of football surely is pace, intensity, drive, determination. Didn't see any of it, guys. Maybe I'm being unfair. Anyway, right. Let me add this to the mix. Should I go full screen with it so you can see it a bit better? I think I probably should. So there you go. Got me little presentation to sort of get on with it. So as I say, that was the outcome. 4,256 in attendance. I mean, the ground is about the size of the local team to me, Dartford Football Club, who play in the 6th tier of English football. And this is a team who are playing in the second best European competition in the continent. I'm just like, how the fuck does this happen? But there you go. I mean, as you can see there, Thomas Souček pops up in the 89th minute with the solitary goal in the match. So let's get into a few little bits and pieces. I'll sort of get into. So that there, ladies and gentlemen, was the starting lineups, and usually the question at this point is thoughts on both of the starting 11s. Now, I can't really give too much of an informed sort of opinion on that, if I'm being honest, as far as they're concerned. I mean, the guy that I did a little bit of a feature on for the preview didn't even start the game, and he was the guy that scored the goal in the reverse fixture at London Stadium when Ogbonna was caught dwelling on the ball and he got robbed. So I can't really comment on them too much. There's a lot of guys whose surnames end with itch. So that's pretty much all I can say as far as they're concerned. As far as we were concerned, I mean, there was a lot of resting and rotating. And now with the benefit of hindsight, I think a lot of people, probably myself included, are looking and thinking, actually, it was probably a bit too much because you were chucking players in who barely played this season, in the likes of Johnson, in the likes of Cresswell. Mubama himself, I mean, he's had very little in the way of match time, and you're chucking them in and you're expecting them to play as a cohesive unit, and it's very difficult to do. You had your sort of like your main players out as well, the likes of Antonio. We know he's going to be out for the foreseeable. Bowen was out for this one. Kufau was out for this one. Kudus was out for this one with various ailments from knocks to sniffles and various things like that. So I did look and go, how's this going to play out? Alvarez was obviously knackered. He'd done a lot of transatlantic traveling. So I get why a lot of the resting and the rotating happened, but I do wonder now, with the benefit of hindsight, yes, how badly that affected and influenced the performance. But then again, I then sort of look at it from another angle, and you look at the previous 3 fixtures. Now, we won all of them, it has to be said, but I think that there was more than a slice of luck about the Olympiacos game, the Nottingham Forest game, and the Burnley game. I think you could look at each of them and make a case that on each of those occasions, we were fortunate to get the W. It could have been a draw. It could have been a defeat in any one of those 3 games. You don't look at any of them and go, well, we dominated them and we deserve to get the win. I'm not quite so sure that's the case. But here's the thing. Do you guys think that actually, when all's said and done, that's one of the metrics for a great team? Now, I'm not saying we're a great team, but isn't that the mark of sort of like what is often said to be a great team? Is a great team is one that can play badly and still find a way to win. Like I say, I'm not saying we're great. I'm not saying we're prime Real Madrid or Brazil 1970, but I am sort of wondering whether we're being a little bit overly critical. I mean, I remain steadfast. The style of football is absolutely appalling. It really is. But all the time that we're doing what we're doing, and we've got the results that we've got, we're 9th in the Premier League, we're top of the Europa League, we're in the quarterfinals of the League Cup, and obviously the FA Cup is yet to commence. And I sort of sit there and go, are things that bad? But then you look at this, guys, and this is always the thing. This is the beauty of the game of football, is that you can look at the same situation from a number of different angles and get a different argument. Back at Topola, let's be completely honest about it. As I say, they're playing in a ground that's roughly the same size as my local football team, Dartford Football Club. And they operate in the 6th tier of English football. And this is a team that, last I looked, I think they were 2nd in the Serbian league. They're in the 2nd Premier European club competition, and they're in a ground that size. So you'd sit there and go, well, surely their financial firepower isn't that much. So therefore, the players that they can attract ain't that great. In fact, I don't think there's too many players from outside of Eastern Europe that I saw in their starting 11. Probably not too many outside Serbia, in point of fact. But you look at that And they had 2 shots more than us. They had an equal amount of shots on target, an equal amount of shots off target, and they also had 2 shots more than we had that were blocked. Yes, we had more possession, but I'd argue we didn't do enough of it. And I think for me, a lot of the times when I think we've been at our best have actually been times when we've had the lesser amount of possession, but with that possession, we've managed to carve out a really high ratio of shots on target, chances, blah, blah, blah. It now seems that we're becoming a team that, again, is sort of like in this game was more possession based, but did fuck all with the ball. I mean, what is the point of having nearly 60% possession if the other team that has a 40% possession had 9 more shots than you and also had 2 more shots than you that ended up getting blocked? I think it's poor. It's poor. There's no other way I can say it. As far as the game the other night is concerned, it was absolute. And I'll remain, like I say, absolutely steadfast in my assessment. It was absolute dog shit. But there you go. Right. I'm just going to have a quick little dip into the comments. Mark, hope you're well. Yeah, it shouldn't. It's not going to be. I'm not going to sort of labour the point too much because there's not really much to talk about. So, how you doing, Mr. Singleton? Hope you are well. Yeah, it's European League Stadia. Yeah, but I mean, under 4,500 that was there, Sharky. Come on, that was piss poor. But there you go. I mean, again, some more stats for any of you guys that are interested. Fabianski had 1 save to make more than their goalkeeper did. Again, I look at that and just go, what the fuck was going on? Seriously. My man of the match. I guess I've got to give it to this guy. And you guys can get into the comments what you think, whether you agree or disagree. But say what you want about Thomas Souček, and I have been one of his detractors. But I did always have the little thought in my head that what we'd seen in the previous 2 seasons was probably in no small part to the fact that Declan Rice wanted to evolve his game and become more of a box-to-box midfielder, which was to the detriment of Thomas Souček's performances. Now that obviously Rice has moved on, it seems that we're getting back to the Thomas Souček of old. And he's getting back to getting goals right at the death, which basically gives the opposition no chance to respond. And it's really good to see. Now, it has to be looked through the prism of, look, we was playing against a team who are, let's be quite honest, they're bottom of this Europa League group for a reason. And the reason is because they're not very good. Pass accuracy, 88.5%. I mean, that's De Bruyne-esque, isn't it? But just look at some of those other stats, guys. 63 touches. He wasn't unsuccessful in any of them. He had 3 shots, 2 on target, and obviously one of them was the goal. Didn't manage to get any assists, but that's not really what he's there for. 52 passes, made 2 of them were key passes. Dribbles 0, crosses 1. It wasn't accurate, however, but he played 2 accurate long balls out of 2. He played 1 through ball, but it wasn't accurate. He won 2 aerials. He was fouled 3 times. He was caught offside, not at all, or dispossessed. He had 1 tackle, 0 interceptions, made 2 clearances, didn't make any block shots, and he committed 2 fouls. And the key part is, as I say, he got the goal that won us the game. But to be honest with you, he probably didn't have that much in the way of competition. Probably the only competition he had was a guy that came on sort of like when the clock was ticking and was the guy that set him up, and that was Maxwell Cornet. Now, I think that he's in that little cameo appearance. He's reminded people, myself included, that there is a player there. And I wonder whether he's given David Moyes a little bit of a nudge and a little bit of a selection dilemma ahead of the Palace game. But we'll get into that in the review. So that there is the group. Now, a lot of people will be looking at that, and I was one of them initially until I had it explained to me. So just to cover it, yes, we are top with an equal amount of points as Freiburg, but when you look at goals for and the goal difference, those columns are inferior from our side of things to Freiburg's. And you look and go, well, how the fuck are we top? Well, the reason we're top is because when we played Freiburg, we beat them. And in European competition, rightly or wrongly, the separator when teams are locked level on points is the head-to-head as the first thing that you look at. And then if that's level, then you look at goals difference, goals scored, and all the rest of it. So obviously, because we beat Freiburg, that is why we are ahead of Freiburg in the league standings. So basically, we go into the final game against Freiburg in this competition, which is at London Stadium, and we will go into that with the knowledge that should we draw the game, we will win the group. We will qualify and go through, and it's all good. But one thing that does concern me, and I'm guessing it might be a little bit of a concern to you, is that like I say, look at the amount of goals that Freiburg are scoring. They're absolutely in red hot form in this competition. And I'm looking and going, we're not. Now, we're winning games, but we're not exactly blowing teams away. And I look at Freiburg, and they really seem to have hit their straps as far as scoring goals is concerned. And I go, oh, we've got them next. This is not good. I mean, they scored 5 against Olympiacos as we was labouring to this result in Serbia. They were smashing Olympiacos to bits. Not happy. It's not good. Anyway, let's have a look. Sharky. No, I agree with you, Rob. I'm surprised TSC didn't play their 3 European home games at the Serbian national team. 4.5 is minuscule. Ken, hope you're well, mate. Not a great performance. Thursday's performance shows the players are not being utilised properly. Cornet needs more game time. He's one of the only players with pace we have felt sorry for Divine. Okay. Yeah, no, I can't say I disagree with a word of that, mate. Worries me that all we need is a draw. Yeah, you don't ever want to play for a draw, do you, Mark? That's a very dangerous game to play. Let's face it, Thursday's games was of no importance. What matters is we beat Freiburg. As I say, Rob, we don't even need to beat them. A draw would be sufficient, but as I say, I don't think you can ever play for a draw. I think that is a very, very dangerous game to play. There's the form of our very good West Ham United. In the previous 5 games to the Bačka Topola game, you can see there that the only reverse that came in that sequence was the game away to Brentford in the Premier League. Everything around that was a win, which, as I say, aside from the victory against Arsenal, which I would suggest was actually a deserved win, Olympiacos, Nottingham Forest, Burnley, and now Topola, I think you look at all of those 4 games in succession and go, But then, like I say, is there an argument to be said that actually a team that can shithouse wins despite bad performances, is that actually the sign of a good team? It's an argument to be had. But anyway, there's really not much more to say. As I say, it's a really, really sort of like poor performance. It was not very pleasing on the eye. And at one point, I just lost interest in it. I wasn't really watching it that intently. It just seemed to be, it seemed to have all the excitement of a parish council meeting. It was fucking awful as a spectacle. Absolutely fucking awful. But we won. So there's reasons to be cheerful. But there you go. Right. I'm going to disappear, guys. As I say, this was just sort of like a quick little thing to sort of get together and sort of have a little bit of a sort of chat and whatever else. But as I say, there's not really much to say about it. I'll get the last little 2 facts out of the way, so I'll just carry on, sort of like have a little look at that. There's one more that I'm just going to get up on the screen as well. I'll just let you sort of read into that. Winning ugly is okay, but not every game. Yeah, it starts to great, doesn't it, mate? I pay a lot of money for 4 season tickets, and look, I want to see us win, but at the same time, I want to see a little bit of entertainment. I want to come away feeling like that money was well spent. And if we've just sort of bored the pants out, and it's like for the 4th, 5th consecutive game, whatever, I start to lose a little bit of patience there. I've got to be honest with you. I'd actually be, in a funny sort of way, this probably sounds really daft, but I think that sort of like, I wouldn't be averse if, to seeing the odd 4-3, 5-4 defeat every now and again, just to spice it up a little bit. Yeah, okay, you lose the game, but at least you're fucking looking like you're trying to win it. Do you know what I mean? But That's just my opinion. There'll be other people that will disagree. Ken felt sorry for the fans that travelled out there to be served up that shit, but fair play when they backed the team to the hilt. Heard them all game, mate. Honestly, they were absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. But they all, the away fans always are. And just a little thing for you, Ken, because obviously you were very kind last season and you got me the tickets away to Craven Cottage. I'll be seeing you there if you're there, mate, because I managed to get very lucky in the ballot. I got 4 tickets, so I will be there next Sunday. I've done very well out of the club ballot. I've got to be honest. I know people that have never got lucky, and for some strange reason, in the last 2 seasons, I've managed to get Nottingham Forest away last season, Newcastle away last season, and Fulham away this season. So I'm doing well. Maybe I ought to do the lottery numbers, or maybe I ought to pick the West Ham United team. Who knows? But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks for joining me. And as I always ask you guys to do, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. Don't forget to click all. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. Don't forget, we're going to be going again around about 11 o'clock, give or take, for the Palace preview. So put a note in your calendar for that. Join us for that. Come on, you Irons, and I'll see you guys soon. And please don't forget to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity.
The West Ham Massive are pleased to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham fans and friends inspired by the work of other football food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for a Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supplies sub-distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thanks for your support. Come on, you Irons.